Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the City of Burnside Council on this 27th of September, opening at 7 p.m. There is no one in the gallery, but welcome to those who are watching from home. Please stand and remain silent during the acknowledgements. We acknowledge the land that we meet on today is the traditional land of the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the original custodians of the Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still important to the Kaurna people today. We pay respect to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting and attending from other areas of South Australia and Australia. On behalf of the City of Burnside, I gratefully acknowledge and pay respect to those who sacrifice their lives for this country and its people. We also consider in our thoughts all those who today are being affected by war, especially those in the Ukraine. Finally, we seek guidance in our debate as we make decisions that will impact on the lives of all who reside, study, work in or visit the City of Burnside. Grant us wisdom as we serve our community. Please be seated. We have a relatively short agenda for tonight's meeting and I believe a couple of additional changes. Since we are in caretaker period, mask wearing is optional. Please remain respectful and patient during the debates and allow everyone to be heard and use the auto cue system when you wish to speak. Use your microphone when speaking but switch it off when you finish. And please really turn off your mobile phone or at least onto silent so it does not interrupt the meeting. We have two apologies this evening, one from Councillor Turnbull and one from Councillor Henschke. We have no leave of absence. Is there anyone who wishes to declare or needs to declare an item of interest? No, then we'll move to point 8, number 8, confirmation of minutes. I seek a mover. Councillor Davis, you've had your hands up. I know it should have been using this, but and Councillor Cornish seconding. Sorry, the hand did go up, and since need to be consistent, I took one and then a second one. Okay. So, all those in favour? Against? Carried. All right, we have no public question time, presentations, deputations or petitions or any deferred business. I will move through to the reports and I'm suggesting that the BRSI becomes we do deal with that one at, I was calling it 11.8 right at the end. There's also a possible other motion without notice that we will deal with at the end as well. So 11.1, does anyone wants to withdraw that for debate? If not, I seek a mover. Thank you, Councillor Dawes. Seconded by Councillor Cornish. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The election of the Local Government Finance Authority. Councillor Lemon.
I have a motion for that if we go to it.
All right, so you wish to withdraw it?
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course.
That's what I'm doing at this stage. The election of the East Regional Grouping Representatives. I'm seeking a mover or someone to withdraw it, or we have to vote, we have to have a withdrawal on that one. Councillor Dawes. The election of the Local Government LGA President. Again, we need a mover. Councillor Dawes. Finance end of the month report. If you just press your button, please, Councillor Davey. But I do have you written down. Okay, Councillor Davey. Mayor's activity report. Does anyone wish to move that one now? Thank you, Councillor Piggott, and seconded by Councillor Hubel. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Chief Executive's report. I'm looking on my screen, Councillor Davey. And then the BRSI nominations for board members. Councillor Lemon. Right, so we shall go back to 11.1, sorry, 11.2, Councillor Lemon.
Thank you. I looked at this, very carefully went through these and picked on a skills base the people that had put their names forward, and I recommend to the Chamber that we endorse Annette Martin and Michael Sedgman. Both of them are seriously experienced in this area. Both of them have worked for local government and financial committees, and both of them have got the qualifications to do this job very well. And neither of them are elected members. They are both they'll be members that aren't elected, which means that after November the 13th, they'll still be in this gig. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. So I commend them to you.
Councillor Davey, you're seconding?
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, I'll just briefly speak. I too picked out Annette Martin and Michael Sedgman based on their skills, experience and qualifications, and I endorse the fact that they are not elected members who might not be around after the election. So I think this is a very worthwhile, they'll be two very worthwhile representatives. Thank you.
Councillor Dawes?
Yeah, look, I will be in support. I did note that both Annette Martin and Michael Sedgman are currently on the board seeking re-election, and I have heard nothing negative about that, so I'm happy to support Councillor Lemon's motion.
Since there's no one else who appears to wish to speak, is there anything you wish to add, Councillor Lemon? No. Then I shall put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Now we move to item 11.8, and that was Councillor Dawes.
Yeah, I think we all believe that 11.3 and 11.4, it's difficult for this council to put forward nominations when there's election coming up in 7 weeks' time. However, I think there could be a separate motion about that. But I was looking at the 4 nominees, and it is, we have noticed that David O'Loughlin, who has been a long-term chairperson of Garrick, is retiring, and therefore what took my notice was that we do need a strong era. When I mean era, I mean Eastern Regional Alliance presence on Garrick, and I believe that you don't have to necessarily have a mayor on it or whatever, but looking at the candidates and looking at what's been proposed to us, my motion is that the 2 that we should nominate are Anna Leombrono from Campbelltown and Elizabeth Fricker from Walkerville. And both of those have had quite a lengthy term in local government. They know what local government is all about. Don Palmer is another councillor from Unley. He's also in era. But just looking at the various nominations, if I was voting, I would be putting Elizabeth and Anna in as the first 2 preferences. So my motion is that that we include those 2 as our nominees or our preferred candidates.
Do I have a seconder? No, I don't. Oh, I do. Sorry. Can you? I'm looking on here.
Sorry.
So, thank you, Councillor Jones.
I will reserve my right.
You might not be reserving for long because I don't have anyone else on.
We're going to speak. Okay. Well, I shall endorse Councillor Dawes' comments. I think they're a sensible pair to vote for.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Cornish?
Thank you, Worship. I'm sort of a bit torn here because I certainly know that they've got some contest with the election coming up, whereas I'm pretty sure the Mayor of Adelaide Hills Council got elected unopposed. So I just wondered whether or not that might actually be a safer bet, that we actually know someone's actually sticking around rather than possibly having to re-vote.
I don't think that should come into it at all.
You don't?
I think we need to put the best people in. If they do not get elected in the next election, then the LGA will be bringing it back to the drawing board. But I think you need to consider who you think is going to best represent you.
Thank you for
Councillor
your
Davey, you're
advice.
next.
I don't support this, and I don't support putting up any nomination. I think this is entirely inappropriate. I don't know why the local government, LGA, is putting this up at this stage. I mean, we've got 6 weeks till we get a new elected body across Adelaide and South Australia. Why are we being asked to make appointments at this stage when we don't know if those people will even be there?
Whilst I agree with you, the issue is it is now or we don't vote at all, and that's your choice. Councillor Davis?
I also agree with Councillor Davey, and I think that at some point we're going to make a point about this. The only time we get to make this point really is in every 4 years, and you have a new council, so we forget about it, and then it becomes an issue in 4 years. So I believe we should be using this opportunity to drive the point home, saying we cannot rightly vote for someone that's going to be in office for 2 months, and that we will reserve our right to vote in the new council until the new council is elected, and then we'll consider those applicants who are successful. And I believe at that point we should vote, and I think we should make a point of it and write to them saying we will advise you of our vote in 2 months' time following the conclusion of the local government elections. Now, obviously, they'll just move on from that and we won't have a vote, but I think at that point, I think this should be fixed, right? This is not complicated. Whatever rule there is prohibiting us from voting after the next council elections, we should solve this. And I think the new council should drive this home, and then potentially, ask for a report from the administration, contact Garrock, and just keep driving it home until it's resolved. So that would be my alternative: is that we write to them saying that we will retain our right to vote, and we'll notify you following the conclusion of local government elections, and then essentially express to them we think it's wholly inappropriate for them to hold an election at this time.
Councillor Hughes?
I was going to propose that we could amend this, still get our vote in, because otherwise I think it would be a shame to miss out, but put point 4 that we write to them telling them that the timing is ridiculous.
I've got that motion coming up.
Oh, you've got that? Okay. Well, I won't support this because I've read it and thought, actually, everyone's known when the local government elections are going to happen for the last 4 years, so why are we doing this now? It's actually ridiculous, so I would be happy to support an alternative to not support this.
Councillor Piggott?
I've got a question, if I may. Presumably, given this is all organised by people who are sort of selected out of all of us, really, I guess there is a reason why they do this. I do have a feeling, we've obviously talked about this before, and I'm sure whoever does this up there has talked about this before as well. Does the Chief Executive perhaps have any light to throw on why they do maintain it now? But yeah, well, perhaps that's it. Perhaps there's...
Yeah, through Madam Mayor, unfortunately I don't have any further light to shed on it. I wish I did. They've just aligned it with their AGM, which is normally okay, but every 4 years it's not.
The AGM's October, isn't it? So they have to have a decision made before.
AGM's on the 28th of October.
Could I then speak? Yep. Oh, look, I think we should stop messing about. If this wasn't caretaker, we'd have waved this through long ago. It is an issue, no question. Does sound like there might be another motion around it. In that case, we can discuss that. But I think we've been asked to do this. I suspect also that, famous last words, but I don't remember having to revisit many times when the people who got in didn't get in. So, I think it's no question it's not ideal. But I think sort of playing sort of grandstanding games with this is probably not appropriate. I think the analysis that Mike did, I'm certainly happy with in regard to the two, and I think in this we should take our vote as we've been asked to do and move on accordingly. I will support it. If that wasn't clear.
Councillor Lemon?
Thank you. Following on from that, I'd take a different attitude to this, and my attitude is that given that we're in caretaker, and given that these people will be elected, I actually think, and I don't actually know when they are announced, but I suspect it's in October. It's a matter for a causa from my point of view, because I think that any one of those people, particularly, certainly not the Mayor of Adelaide Hills, if she's already elected unopposed, but the others have all got, these are contested elections, and it gives them an advantage. If we now endorse Elizabeth Frecker, we are in fact giving her an advantage over anyone who may be contesting for the same position. And I don't know that I want to be part of that. And in fact, I know I don't want to be part of that, because I think that in fact advantages one person over another. And I don't know that that's in the spirit of our Electoral Commission and caretaker. And I think we really need to think about that very carefully.
Does anyone else wish to speak? I think it's the 28th of October, hence all new roles need to be taken over at that point in time. And if people only last a month or 5 weeks or something, then, or less than that, it's about 2 weeks. No, it's a bit more than 2 weeks. But that's we may like to have a say in it, but it is outside of our control. Anyway, it's entirely up to you. Councillor Davis, you wish to speak or ask a question?
Yeah, I just had a question. If we endorse these two candidates as our preferred candidates, is that an endorsement of their campaigns or their suitability to be elected on the next council?
Can I just say that Campbelltown have already done their voting, and they did it at their council meeting last week.
Didn't quite answer the question.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think the view is, in their current position, do you view them as being the appropriate people to take on these positions?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be construed
Nothing-
with the
nothing
elections. But just treating that question in isolation from the other commentary around the room.
Councillor Hughes, you have a question?
I was just going to ask, so if this doesn't get up, just in terms of timing, if there is an alternate motion, which is to write back and tell people this is silly, we would still have an opportunity in October to get our vote in, because it's due or not?
Through you, Madam Mayor, my understanding is there may be a motion coming which is to voice our concerns about the timing. If council doesn't take the opportunity this evening, then we effectively would not have placed a vote in this election.
So if you do not wish to have a say in this decision, then you want to vote. Pardon? Right. We have 2 names already nominated. Unless there are any further names, then I would like to go back to Councillor Dawes if he has anything else to say, and then put it to the vote.
I don't think anybody in this room disagrees with what Councillor Davis said. However, do we want to make our vote count? I disagree with Councillor Lemon, because if we do endorse them, that has nothing to do with our council. And in fact, they haven't been elected. It's only that we're going to vote for them. I can't see Elizabeth Fricker saying, oh, Burnside Council supported by nomination for ERA. Well, whatever you're trying to say. Now, we can put a protest in, but I think it does nothing. Every other council will put in a vote in, understanding it's not ideal, and I believe our Mayor and CEO should be going to the LGA and say this is ridiculous for the future. We will support it this time because of the way it's been processed. It is a bit silly, but we want to put a vote in. And if we're going to be the only council that doesn't, they're going to say, oh, Burnside, are you a bit elitist here? Don't you think that, we're trying to do the right thing or something like that? I don't know. But let's be sensible here. Let's be sensible and say, these are our 2 preferred candidates. If they don't get up, there'll be another election. The new council can again decide who it wants to support.
Those in favour? Those against? I might need to do that again. Sorry, those in favour? Those against? For all? No, 5. No, Sarah only just put her hand up. Okay. Well, I was trying to check. Okay. Sorry, those who supported the motion, please. Sorry? Yes. Councillor Piggott, Councillor Cornish, Councillor Dawes and Councillor Jones. Got one more? Oh no, we've got them in a different line. Okay, Councillor Davis, Councillor Davey, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Hubel and Councillor Lemon. And the motion was lost. So I believe you have an alternate motion.
I've got one in, but it's about us.
Oh, yeah.
Could we defer this until we do his?
Have we got an alternate motion?
Can we defer this to later on in the meeting? I move that we revisit this motion at the end of the council meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. Through Madam Mayor, I was going to suggest that if someone just moves a motion without notice at the end of the meeting, you can achieve the same outcome.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
I've got one in at the moment.
And then
Oh,
after
do you?
that,
Voices are used there.
Oh,
This time of the election.
Does this mean? All right, then we move to the next. Can we just have some silence, please, so we move on to the next motion? The next item is 11.4, and this is the election of a local government association, the LGA president. Councillor Dawes.
I don't know if we're going to go through the same scenario again. I hope not, because in my opinion, there's an outstanding candidate. He's probably an outstanding one and a very good one. When we look at a position of president of a body, I'm going to let me say number 2. I'm saying electing Erica Vickery. All right, Erica Vickery in the motion, and the reason why I'm saying that there are 5 nominees. Only 2 of them are currently on the LGA board. And I've always believed that when you become a chair or president of an organisation, you should be on the board prior to that. And both Keith Parks and Erica Vickery are 2 of those 5. But Erica also chaired SAROC, which is our GEROC in the country. And she's also been on the Australian local government board. So you've got to give her a fairly big tick. She's been mayor for 12 years, councillor for another 10 prior to that. So she's been around and she's got tons of experience. So I am putting forward that Erica Vickery be our nominee, our candidate that we prefer.
Seek a seconder. Councillor Davey.
No, I've got a question.
Well, can I get a seconder first, please? Councillor Jones, you're seconding? Thank you very much. Back to Councillor Davey.
Could I ask a question of the CEO through you? What happens if any of these candidates aren't elected in the election that we're having in 6 weeks' time?
Through Madam Mayor, it's a process that the LGA will have to run, but in essence, I guess it'll mean they'll have to hold, in essence, a supplementary election.
Councillor David.
the same reasons as before, and actually what Councillor Dawes said. Councillor Dawes said that they'll stop, and if we don't put in this vote, we actually write to them, and we say to them, we refuse to vote because it's not appropriate during caretaker policy that we endorse particular candidates, while there's still 7 months to go. Councillor Dawes said that they would stop, and they would start to question. They would say, why is Burnside taking this action? Is it because they're elitist? Or is it because they actually genuinely disagree with the timing of it? And it takes one vote. So it takes one voice to make a change. And yes, we can roll along. Yes, we can go along and do and vote again. And that would solve the issue, right? And then it wouldn't matter. There would be no change. There would be no single voice. So I say that we should vote against this motion, not because I don't believe that Erica would make an excellent president, but who the hell knows if she's going to get elected? She might be our president for 2 months, and then she gets unelected and we have to vote for somebody else. So I believe that we should protest this. It's high time that this changes. Everyone knows this is an issue, and Garrick is refusing to do something about it. So I think it takes one vote and it takes one message to start that conversation, as Councillor Dawes says, and that's why I'm prepared to vote against this again.
Councillor.
Could I move the motion be put?
Thank you, Councillor Cornish. I'll put the motion. Those in favour of the motion as it stands? Sorry. I vote on the motion that the motion is now put. Those in favour? Those against?
We're going to play a repeat out of that previous one.
Right. The motion was carried. Now I will put the motion.
I went early.
Right, now I'll put the motion. Those in favour of the motion? Those against?
That saves a bit of time.
Division's been called.
Well, stand up and be counted.
Yeah, stand up.
Councillor Cornish, Councillor Piggott, Councillor Dawes, Councillor Jones. Well, personally, I think we're a laughing stock and no one will care anyway. Against, Councillor Davis, Councillor Davey, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Hubel, Councillor Lemon. Now we move to 11.5. Finance End of Report, Councillor Davey.
Now the fun stuff.
Just a couple. Thank you. I'm happy to move in accordance with the recommendation. I just had a couple of questions. Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. On page 80, the operating projects that are mentioned in here, there's no expenditure against those, that one on page 80, under project names. Can I ask when the bin tagging trial is going to commence? And also the second one is the DAIP Building Accessibility Audit Stage 2. Could you tell me when they're going to commence, please?
Through Madam Mayor, yes, I must apologise. We sent the email a few minutes just prior to the meeting, Councillor Davey, but I'll run through the answers. The bin tagging project commenced on the 5th of September, and there's an info doc which was circulated to council members that Ms Reynolds has attached to the email you've received. The DAPE Stage 2 accessibility audit is currently scheduled to be tendered after caretaker period closes. And the third question, expenditure on renewal replacement of asset payments is the amount that council has spent this year to date on renewal and replacement assets in total, and covers a range of approved projects that are progressing. The Hazelwood Park swings will be installed in the next 2 weeks, and therefore not included in the financials as they haven't been invoiced as yet.
I seek a seconder. Councillor Cornish, thank you. Councillor Piggott, you wish to speak?
Yeah, look, actually, in the spirit of this evening, I just wanted to congratulate administration on the fact that actual spending for the first 2 months is exactly the same as the adopted forecast, to the dollar. And I look forward to that continuing throughout the year, even though I may not be here to see it.
I don't have anyone else on the screen, so I'd like to go back to Councillor Davey to summarise. All right, I shall put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. I appreciate the frivolity, but I think we need to be a little bit more serious. We are making decisions that our community expect us to make with full responsibility and care. So whilst I appreciate the frivolity, I think we need to also take this seriously. There was. I wasn't actually making a comment about what you said, Councillor Piggott. It was actually more about the fact is that there's been a little bit of loss of control. Generally. Please let's not get in an argument about it.
Well, if you're going to give us a dressing down.
Right. It was not a dressing down. It was just asking for us to be taking things a little more seriously from now on, please.
I think we are.
Yeah. All right, let's keep doing.
I think that's enough argument anyway, all right? Enough.
Just carry on, just carry on.
Okay,
Just carry on.
right. Our next one is the Chief Executive Officer's Report 11.7. Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move in accordance with the report and with the recommendation and receive and note the report. I just have a couple of questions, if I may. Page 92, the East Waste, third paragraph on that item. Council is now working with East Waste to review its service level agreement for the whole of the city to ensure it's current and meet the needs of business and city residents. When will that be finalised, please?
Through Madam Mayor, if I can refer that to Mr Cant. Thank you.
Through your worship, we're expecting that to be finalised early in the new calendar year.
Okay. And another question, if I may. The Brownhill Keswick Creek Stormwater Project on page 93, we've very nicely received, they've made a surplus of 5.1 million for the year and Burnside's share is 612,000. Has that gone into general revenue and how will that be expended? Thanks.
Through Madam Mayor, I might get Ms Reynolds to pick this up if I get this wrong. It's to do with the recognition of the assets. It's not cash that can be spent. Is that a fair comment, Ms Reynolds?
Thank you, Chris. Through the chair, Chris is correct. That is a non-cash item. So essentially, it's us recognising our share of profit from BHKC, but it's not money that we get in that we can then spend on something else. It does go into our bottom line profit, though.
I seek a seconder. Councillor Cornish.
No comment.
I see no one else wishes to speak, so Councillor Davey, do you wish to summarise? No. Then I shall put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Now I'm calling this 11.8, although on the document it's actually titled 14.1, and that is the adoption of the Burnside Retirement Services Incorporated Working Group to appoint Jock Berry. I'm reading this out because people at home haven't got access to this, and Joan Russell as independent board members of Burnside Retirement Services Incorporated, and appoint these independent members for 2 years commencing the close of the 2022 BRSI Annual General Meeting until the close of the 2024 Annual General Meeting, and I seek a mover of that motion.
I put...
Sorry, Councillor Lemon, you did. Apologies.
So I move the officer's recommendation. I'll just repeat the three that we want to put in because I think that Amy Jones was left off that. So it's Jock Berry, Amy Jones and Joan Russell. The reason this has come to us as a walk-in, as a late entry into our agenda is that the BSRI has its annual general meeting in November, and this bringing it tonight will give these people, once they've been endorsed by us, the opportunity to be brought up to speed before the AGM where they'll be formally appointed. And because It sounds like there's a fair bit of time between now and then, but there isn't. To get these 3 people up, we spent 6 weeks. There were fortnightly differences in terms of organising appointments for them, because these are very, very busy people. So by us doing this tonight, it enables as shareholder, we're endorsing this, and it enables our independent board then to carry on with the work that it needs to do. And that's why it's here. I just wanted to explain why it's here, sort of at a last minute thing. The selection process itself, we had 33 applicants for the positions on the board, and what we did was we went through all of them, we shortlisted them, and we interviewed, I can't even remember exactly, we interviewed more than 6, I think, didn't we? 6. We interviewed 6 and we've come up with 3. It was a mixed bag, but the ones that we've got are really good. They'll be excellent in the job, and I hope you support this motion, and I hope you forgive us for bringing it to you at the last minute.
Councillor Davey, are you seconding?
Thank you. Yes, I'm happy to second the motion. And thank you to everyone for their work. I think it's commendable that we had 33 applications for the board positions. And as we've heard, they're of varying capacity. But I was very pleased to read the CVs with the qualifications and experience of the 3 nominated members. And I think they'll be able to provide good service and stability, hopefully, for BRSI and the people who live there, and give us the confidence that the BRSI will be run efficiently and cooperatively. So hopefully you'll support this.
Councillor Dawes.
Yeah, look, I just want to thank the Working Party for their diligence. And it's already been mentioned, but reading through 33 applications, deciding on a short list of 6, then conducting interviews, and then coming to a decision on the 3 who've all got high quality CVs, so they must have also interviewed well. But I just want to thank the Working Party that was involved, the Mayor, Councillor Lemon, and my co-councillor Turnbull, because there's a lot of work. It does remind me, Councillor Davey, of our work on the community grants. So thank you very much on behalf of the council.
If there's no one else wishing to speak, I'll go back to Councillor Lemon. I'll put the motion then. All those in favour? Those against? Carried.
I've got a motion without notice.
Will you advise to do us a motion on notice next meeting?
Yours or mine?
Mine.
Okay, timing. I'm going to put mine though.
Yeah, no, agreed.
So
Okay.
could I see since I haven't seen either of these motions on notice, could I just see the one that you intend to put tonight then, please?
Yep.
Or can we all see it?
Yeah. It's on the screen.
Take out the apostrophe in its. It is. In the first line.
Yes. Helen, could you get rid of the apostrophe in its?
So what number are we? Is this 11 point?
This is going to be 14.2.
Oh, right. Outlining its concern.
Let's take out the apostrophe in
Outlining our
in the first line. It's not an abbreviation, but it is.
Should we have at the timing instead of on?
For the election. Timing for the election.
Timing for the election. Okay.
Well, it's for the election.
It's Yeah.
Councillor Cornish, it's your motion. Would you like to make any changes that you
No,
wish?
I'm happy with it as it stands. Thank you, Helen. As I said, I had one prepared, just basically council writing to the LGASA and obviously voicing its concerns regarding the timing of these elections and the process. I did vote for the other ones being pragmatic and was going to move this as well, just as a, do better, change things, but we'll still do the same thing. But clearly that's not how the council's gone tonight. That's fine. It's a democracy. So I hope you support this motion to just basically voice our concern with the process.
Councillor Davis.
Yes, thank you. I'll speak to it. It is important that we register it, because otherwise it won't change. It'll continue the way it's always continued. If we did vote and we actually participated in the election, then it would just continue with the roll-on time after time. And I don't think that we should be a party to that. It is quite a serious matter, in fact. And it's something that's been ignored for many, many years. And I think Garrick is well aware of they're well aware of the issue, and they've simply chosen not to amend the rule which says that this voting needs to happen now. It would not be difficult for them to amend their constitution or their rules to enable this voting to happen at a reasonable time and not during the middle of an election. I mean, you're essentially giving an endorsement to whoever you're putting up. And if I was a candidate, I would absolutely write to my community and say, I've just been endorsed by 5 different councils as the best politician ever. And that would certainly serve me in a political campaign. And the other thing is we're focused in our own campaigns rather than focusing on who would be the best representative for Garrick. So I do think that it's wholly inappropriate. I don't think it should be done during caretaker period. And I think that somebody needs to make a change, and somebody needs to be the first to oppose this. So I hope that in the letter that will be communicated, that the reason why Burnside or the Chamber felt that it was inappropriate to vote was because of the timing of it, and that and I hope that we can make that very clear to Garrick going forward. And I also do hope that this can come back to the next council and that this pressure can go on, because at the end of the day, it's actually not that difficult to change those rules. It really isn't. And it's something that should have been done a long time ago. So I'm happy to second the motion. I do think that it is a conscientious stand against stupidity, and I hope to see this rule changed.
Councillor Davey.
Thank you. Yes, I endorse those words and thank Councillor Cornish for his motion. It's not in any way appropriate, nor is it good governance for us to be voting on these positions while we're in caretaker mode for local government elections. It's just, we're lectured ad nauseum about what we're supposed to do and allowed and permitted to do in caretaker mode. And for the Local Government Association to actually put this up is not good governance, let me put it that way. So hopefully you'll support this and we can make a stand so that this can be improved and brought back into line with proper governance and good management. Thank you.
Councillor Lemon.
Yes, thank you. I also support this, but I would suggest a small change, and I could do an amendment unless the mover and seconder are willing to take on. I think we've got it's more than what concern that we have. I think I'd change that word to dismay. Dismay at the timing. I would put in, if you felt that, dismay rather than concern, because concern is just, a bit wimpy, whereas dismay is a little more.
I'm happy with concern. Sorry.
Oh, you want concern?
Yeah, but if you want to run an amendment, run an amendment.
I'd be dismayed.
You would prefer dismay.
No, I'd be dismayed. I'd be concerned. But I do apologise. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll just leave it at that then. If you're not willing to be dismayed by it and merely be concerned then.
I'm concerned that we're not dismayed.
Right, Councillor Hubel.
Thank you, Your Worship, and Nina Marnie, greet you all this evening. We've fallen a little bit into semantics there, but I think this issue is a bit of a serious one. I didn't speak to the previous motions where we chose not to put forward a candidate, but I did know this was coming up, and I thought I did want to explain my position to the chamber on this one. I do have a feeling that there's inequity at play for us to be endorsing someone for office that we're making an assumption that they're going to be eligible to hold. And I just think that any candidate standing against someone that we endorse would have right to feel a bit hard done by us. I see inequity in that, and I just don't feel comfortable saying, or allowing someone to put on their campaign material, I've been selected by all these other councils, so you know what, I must be pretty good. And look, they may well be very good, and that's a matter for their personal electorate, but I feel uncomfortable putting my name to a vote that gives someone an advantage in an election that is not necessarily within my, remit or my control. So that was my feeling on that. Yeah, and look, I think protest votes are really important and they're really valuable, and I think that we have freedom and democracy, and we have the power to use our vote the way we want to, and a protest vote is one of those uses. Now, the wisdom of that is not universally shared within the chamber, and I accept that, and I respectfully apologise for differences of opinion there. But I think that Burnside not voting here, everyone will take notice of that, and a conversation will be had in every council chamber in the state. Oh, why did Burnside not vote? Oh, because of this. There we have us as a chamber taking a stand, taking leadership on an issue and saying this is not right and this is something we can do to push this. The current motion before us goes further, and this is how the world gets changed, and this is how progress is made.
Councillor Dawes.
Yeah, a question to administration. Will we advise LTA that we're not putting in a vote, or will they accept the fact that because we didn't put one in, then it is not counted? How is it done from the administration's point of view?
Through Madam Mayor, I think it's appropriate in this letter that I'll write that I do make comment that the council effectively decided not to place a vote in this ballot. Yeah, so I will be notifying them overtly, not covertly.
Do you wish to speak, Councillor Dawes, or I'll allow Councillor Jones to speak first?
No, someone is already...
Yeah, Councillor Jones.
I can let you speak if you want.
No, you go.
I have a question, if I may. It's been suggested that voting on this election would have been a breach of the caretaker provisions. Can you advise whether that's correct?
Through Madam Mayor, I don't believe it's a breach of caretaker provisions because I can only assume that the LGA were acting legally and within the parameters. However, I think it's entirely appropriate for me to also pen a letter to EXA, advise them similarly of our concerns.
Thank you.
Councillor Davis.
Thank you. That was going to be my question. Could you, I agree that a letter to EXA would be very valuable as well. Could you circulate copies of those to us as elected members, please, when they go off? Do we need to amend the motion to that effect, or with that? Thank you.
Councillor Dawes.
Yeah, I think that Councillor Davis used the word stupidity, which I take offence to. You know, I don't think that's appropriate with the Local Government Association for us to say that. And that's what attracts media comment. And that's why I just feel, and I love the word that Councillor Cornish put forward about pragmatism versus idealism. And we have a split vote in this council tonight. But what I don't want this council to be is waving a flag by ourselves. The best way of making change is not putting in a protest vote. That never works, in my opinion. What does work is working with our area councils to get a consensus view which will make changes at LGA. I will support the motion because I think that is what we all believe, but I just wanted to make the comment about pragmatism versus idealism.
Thank you. I have no one left on the screen, so I'm going back to Councillor Cornish. Councillor Cornish is happy to put the motion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. I just want to finish the meeting with a sad note under other business, and that is the sad passing of Mr. John Moore. He was our Senior Citizen of the Year last year at the age of 94. He died last week at the age of 96, having spent most of his career as a teacher at teacher and librarian at Pulteney Grammar, and then after retirement working for 30 years looking after St Saviour's Cemetery. It's very sad for his family, and I would like to just mention that give our condolences, as he was our Senior Citizen of the Year, the last one of those. Thank you. I'll close the meeting. No, sorry, there's something else.
Sorry. Please don't close the meeting.
Don't close the meeting. Okay.
Please, 5 minutes.
No, I think if there's something happening, it's better to just finish the meeting and then go. Otherwise, I have to get everybody back again. It's too hard. And it's also making the staff.
My apologies, Madam Mayor. I was just talking to my colleague about the motion without notice that Councillor Jones was looking to move.
Oh, okay.
I've just had some updated advice that I don't have time, we do not have time to delay it till next meeting, as I'd advised you. What I'd like to do, Madam Mayor, is just get some comments from Mr. Cooper, just to talk us through the process and the decisions that Council has opened to it. Thanks, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, apologies, councillors. Had some late advice about this motion without notice. We are able to raise a motion on notice this evening if you wish to make a representation about the demolition of a local heritage place at 2 Watuna. We would need to do it tonight because the consultation process will close. In doing that representation, it would be good to clarify whether it's just a written or a written and a verbal representation at the meeting. Previously, when as a landowner, we made a representation for the On the Run, we did that through Anthony Kelly as the third party that provided the representation. If we do it in writing, then as much detail as possible in terms of why we would object to that demolition would be helpful. If for any reason we were to miss the deadline for the consultation, then we could certainly still include it as an informal submission from council to the CAP. The only other thing that might be worth council considering is from an advocacy point of view whether you also wanted